That's what I used to think. That was this creepy guy in an alley that was just gonna like wait there for me and attack me. But it wasn't like that. And so because it wasn't like that, I really I took away the severity of the situation in order to protect myself, because if I realized it was that severe, I would break. So it took me a while to realize no, that is what happened. It was that bad of a situation. It's okay to realize that as long as you can deal with it. But yeah, that's I didn't report it to the police because at the time it didn't feel like it was a big deal, which is pretty standard for victims. So I went to a show, which is it was a music show, and it was local artists. I was really into that scene at the time still, from high school until then. And we had been under the influence that night, kind of we were drinking, and there was a lot of weed, and it was just whatever. And I was kind of out of it, but my friend, he was the DD for the night, so he was gonna take care of me. But he linked up with his other friends, so I was oh no, I have to find a ride. And I was kind of used to that because it's kind of all over the place with that kind of scene. And there was this guy who approached me. He was in one of the bands, and he was just oh yeah, I could take you home. The whole band is gonna just go in the same direction. We could just drop you off. And I was okay, sure. And he took me home, but it wasn't the whole band. It was just him and me in the car. And I was okay, maybe they just went a different route or something. And we were in the car, and he was talking to me, and we were just talking about music, and I liked his band. Objectively, I liked the music, and it was fun. It was a fun night. And then he took me to his house, and he was I just need to get something. Can you come inside with me? And I was oh, well, why? I can just wait in the car. And he's no, I just he was trying to make light of it, making, I don't even know what he said. He was I don't want to leave you alone with my car, blah, blah. And I was okay. And so I went inside with him, and he was he exposed himself to me. And then he kind of pushed himself onto me. And it was I was okay, maybe if I, okay, maybe if I want this, it won't be as bad. And so I kind of started going along with it. And then I was no, this isn't really what I want. And so I tried to push him off of me, and he smacked me across the face. And so I was okay, I'm just gonna have to sit through that, but that's whatever. And then after he was done, I was so can you take me home now? And he said no, and so I had to spend the night there. And he did it throughout the night, and then I just took myself home in the morning. After that, I didn't really go back into the scene ever again. There's been moments where I still see him around, because with the scene, what sucks is it stays really local, so you can't really ever escape it. And because they're loved by other girls, it kind of is stupid of me to come forward and be which I did. I came forward and I was well, this is what he did. And they're he would never do that. His music doesn't represent that. That's not how he represents himself, to his friends and his band, and that whole public image that he had. When a lot of the people in his band were when I approached them, do you know how he treats girls? Do you know how he does this? And they're just that's none of our business, and you're just blowing things out of proportion. He's not some monster. And it's the problem with that whole thing is nobody who does that is a monster. They're just a terrible person. If they were a monster, some creepy guy in an alley, that would make it so much easier for people to hate them. But they're not. They're normal people who do normal things all the time. And it sucks because people can't, it's scary to imagine a normal person doing something like that. That is terrible to someone that they know. So, I don't know, I hate when people are like that. Accountability is really big. You have to be accountable for the actions that, even though they not affect you, you still saw it and you still see it, and you're like not a bystander that can just walk away. Because if you treat it like that, then it's like you're hurting someone else.